Hey there, dear Spellweaver community, and welcome to a special video. Now today, there is not gonna be any tournament or ranked shenanigans or any gameplay whatsoever, but today I want to cover something that us, as a community as a whole, is gonna impact us in some way, shape or form, because the approved cards list is officially done. Now, if you haven't noticed it, if you just jumped into Spellweaver, there was this thing. It started a couple of months ago. I'm not too sure. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago. There was an announcement that the mobile release is drawing closer, and with the mobile release, there are gonna be, I think, 7 to 9 more new cards. And with the mobile release, they also are gonna introduce the redesigned cards. Now, there are some cards in Spellweaver that are either obnoxious or just completely and utterly useless, and no one plays the cards. And the developers made a great choice, actually. They let the community decide how the cards are gonna be changed to make them more useful. Now, they made a thread for each card that they want to redesign. I think it was like each week or every second week or something. Everyone had, I think, 2 votes on every card, how you want the card to be changed. And then they picked like the best. The developers picked like the best contestants, and then the community could vote which design they want to go for. Now, easier said than done, basically, because I suck at explaining, but let's hop into the game and let's see the cards of choice here. I actually should have made it, but nah, well, fuck it. So, that's wrong. The first card is Vegetation blockade. As it is now, it is a 1 nature, 2 mana card, and it goes as following. Non-flying creatures can't attack unless their controller pays 1 mana for each non-flying creature that's attacking. At the start of your turn, destroy Vegetation blockade and draw a card. Now, the draw a card thing is pretty good, as it is, and for the decks that I run Vegetation blockade in is basically just for that, for the extra card draw for a turn. But other than that, have you really seen this card being played? And overall, it's just pretty bad, even late game, because in late game you have the mana, and in the early game you don't really have much to attack anyway. So overall, it's just a card that no one plays, and we can kind of see why. So that was the first card, and the winner of this is the submission by Birdis. And Vegetation blockade is gonna be changed as follows. It's gonna be 2 mana and 1, I think it was 1 random aspect and 1 nature. So yeah, it actually got more expensive. And it's gonna be spell, a blessing. As it is now, it's a curse. And it says, when Vegetation blockade enters the field, summon 2 shooting sprouts onto the field. Plants you control may block any creature regardless of speed. At the start of your turn, destroy Vegetation blockade. So, maybe considering its shooting sprouts, so you destroy Vegetation blockade, but you still keep the plants, the shooting sprouts, I assume. So with that, maybe nature shamans is gonna be a thing. No one really plays that. Let me check real quick. Plants you control may block any creature regardless of speed. Let's check that out. So I'm gonna spell plant. So this one is a plant. So this one can block basically anything, even though you use this obviously to kill creatures anyways. Shooting sprouts goes without saying. Even Primordial Trend can block anything. Ancient Trend can block anything. Okay, that might be really valuable after all. That's pretty cool. Next thing is Detonate. That's a rage spell. Okay, yeah, destroy an artifact. And I think they also have. Let me check real quick. I think they actually have 2 of these, right? Weren't there like 2? Ruination? Destroy? Yeah. Like, what the fuck? This one, 2 mana, 1 aspect. This one, okay, it's 4 mana, 2 aspects, but still, you get to destroy 2 artifacts and draw a card. Of course, it's a good block against, like, artifacts, but, I mean, It's really rarely that you actually play against this, especially in ranked. But Detonate, destroy an artifact. I've seen one guy play this in my 800, maybe not 800, but in my 300 games that I've played in this game, I have seen one Detonate that I can recall. And other than that, no one played it. Destroy an artifact is basically just a venerated unicorn, but bad because it's not a creature. And it's gonna be changed as follows. It's from Zephyria. By the way, as it is, yeah, 1 aspect, 2 mana, and it's gonna be changed to 2 mana and 1 rage aspect, so it's gonna be the same, yeah. Action, spell, instant spell. Oh, it was an instant spell. Okay. Gonna be changed to a spell, and you can choose one. Either destroy an artifact, which is what it does now. Deal 1 damage to all creatures, which is basically a Holy Radiance. Or deal 2 damage to a creature with a target emblem. Now, you know, I've made a target emblem deck, and it works sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. Especially it doesn't work in ranked, I can assure you that. And in most friendly matches it doesn't work. Because targets are just too weak, and there are not too many cards that really... that you can really splash in that make targets like valuable. But with this, deal 2 damage to, well, because I want to actually show you this. If we just type in target, there is this thing, of course, that you have to implement, Fire God Temple, and when you play a level 1 creature, you either put a target emblem on that or deal 2 damage to a creature with a target emblem. And 2 damage is reasonable in the early game, but later on, of course, you don't kill anything with 2 damage. And with this one, like if it adds up, if you first play Detonate with 2 damage to any creature with a target emblem, and then you play the Rune of Fire, and then, you know, drop a 1 level creature and you get 2 damage, that's 4 damage overall in 1 turn, and that's pretty good. Like anything that strengthens basically target emblems and just things that are already in the game but not really valuable is pretty good. Then we have Wall of Flames. Let's check this beauty out. Wall of Flames, here it is. The firewall, basically. 2 mana, 1 aspect. It's really cool because you don't see these cards, and so you obviously don't see the artwork also. Should be an instant spell, maybe that would be pretty good then. Whenever a creature engages in combat, Wall of Flames deals 1 damage to that creature. At the start of your turn, destroy Wall of Flames and draw a card. The card draw is pretty good, but I don't know. Does it count when you attack, or when you attack into a creature? Does it count then? Because with all rights that might actually be pretty good. Because with all rights you can like do chip damage before you actually attack. You know, like deal 1 damage for each creature it is in combat with for some all rights. But yeah, other than that, of course, no one really plays Wall of Flames, and it's gonna be changed to. It's a curse and a spell. So it's gonna be 2 mana, which is still the same, and it's gonna be 1 random. I think that's how it is. 1 random and 1 rage aspect, and it starts off in the brackets right here. It's 6 energy. Spell curse. That's still the same. Whenever a creature attacks, put a target emblem on it. Ah. At the end of each player's turn, deal damage to each creature equal to the number of target emblems on it, and Wall of Flame loses 1 energy. When Wall of Flames has 0 energy, sacrifice it. So the more target emblems, the better. And that actually... yeah, like the enemy might think twice about actually attacking, because if it has 6 energy, you can... if he attacks every turn, you have 6 target emblems on 1 creature, which would equal to 6 damage at the end of turn, which is nice. I like that one really much. Okay, Wasp Swarm. Let's check this out. Wasp Swarm, here it is. Move all creatures to the support line. Yeah. So it's all creatures, so it's also your creatures, and I think if you use that during your turn and you put your I think you can. I'm not sure, actually someone has to try this out, but if you use this during your turn, can you move your creatures to the front line again? Because you technically have a speed... no, not really, because you can't attack that turn anyways. Kind of a good card. If it only would move all enemy creatures to the support line, it would definitely be broken, I think. Especially in a rage deck or in a rush deck. But yeah, as it is, of course, it doesn't see play. Even though I like interactive cards because the support line is something that is unique, obviously, to Spellweaver, and there are not many cards, except of Tidal Wave, for instance, or Dread Knight, that really use this or utilize it. This one utilizes it, but it's not in a good way. Not really, at least. And it's gonna be changed. It's an action spell, not an instant spell. It's a 3 mana, 1 aspect, and it's gonna be changed to 2 mana and 1 aspect, so it's gonna be cheaper. And they really like this choose one kind of thing, don't they? Choose one. Return a creature you control to its owner's hand, which is basically Tornado Outbreak and slash or the Bounce Shrine, basically. Even though a little bit better, obviously, because no, it's basically Tornado Outbreak. Oh no, wait, it's not, it's the Bounce Shrine. It's a creature you control. Okay. So it should just say to your hand and not to its owner's hand, because it's yours anyways, but okay. A creature gets +1 speed until end of turn. Also pretty good. Or a card gains 2 energy and a card draw. Card draw is always pretty good, and a card gains 2 energy, again, would be pretty good for nature shamans. A little bit of love for that. Kind of like that. Even though I can't really see, I think that's also what they say in the thread right here. How are swarms gonna generate energy for you? Some people made some good statements about that, however. Next one is electrostatic armor. Okay, there we have it. Oh yeah, I actually played that once and I didn't figure it out and I completely butchered it. It's 2 mana, 1 aspect attached to a creature. Whenever this creature... Oh, it's an implant. It's an implant. I have a Wisdom Dominion implant deck. Maybe I should put that in. I didn't even know it's an implant. Whenever this creature attacks a creature or hero, you may pay 1 mana to deal 2 damage to that creature or hero. That basically gives you an advantage when you go face or duel the enemy creature. Why isn't this being... I'm gonna put that in my implant deck and see how it works. I don't see why that isn't being played. It sounds pretty good, actually. It's kind of odd. But it's 2 mana and 1 aspect is also pretty cheap. I mean, of course, you have to pay 1 mana every time, but if it's only on 1 creature or on multiple creatures even, and you have the mana, I mean, sure. 2 mana, 1 aspect, and it's gonna be changed to 2 mana, 1 random and 1 wisdom. I really hope that's how it is and not just 1 wisdom, but I think it's 1 random and 1 wisdom. And it's an energy-based one. It starts off with 2 energy. It's still gonna be an implant. And if this creature would be dealt damage, reduce the damage by an amount equal to electrostatic armor's energy. I like that. Or you pay 2 energy, deal damage equal to your wisdom level to a creature engaged in combat with this creature. Use this ability only during your turn. Now that could be done for like some fun plays. If you play Silencer anyways, you're gonna be up to 4 wisdom levels. If you play Darius, Advanced Darius, you always have 3 wisdom levels at least for your hero ability. And yeah, so you can do 3 damage right away against a bigger creature. And if you have a swift creature, which doesn't happen in... Yeah, it doesn't really happen in Wisdom, does it? But if you have like a swift creature, that would be pretty funny, actually. Even though then you have to splash in Rage, and then you only deal like 1 damage because you only have 1 Wisdom level anyways. Maybe 2, if you're lucky. Or yeah, of course, like reduce that damage by an amount equal to electrostatic armor's energy. That's also pretty nice. The question is just, does it... Like, it starts off with 2 energy, and it doesn't say that it loses energy after your turn, so it always lowers it by... Yeah, so if you would deal like 5 damage with the creature, you would only deal 3 throughout the whole time. Or you use the energy, destroy it, and then, yeah, make the damage. Make like +2 damage, basically. Or like 3, however high your wisdom level is. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Oh yeah, Midnight Cravings, one of the most useless cards in the game, probably. No one runs this. Even though the artwork is pretty sweet, I gotta say. That's one of the best, that's one of my most favorite, one of my most favorite artworks in the game, because it just looks badass. Midnight Cravings is 2 mana and 1 corruption aspect. Up to 2 zombies you control get +1 attack, +1 speed until end of turn. And when you play zombies, you have most likely more than 2 out there anyway, so that little buff doesn't do jack shit. And yeah, the zombies are mostly only 1 speed, so you buff them up to 2 speed, so they still get blocked by everything in the book. +1 attack is basically for a zombie legionnaire. It's gonna be 3. It's gonna be a 2 health, 3 attack, 2 speed. Not that good, especially not only for 2 zombies, so yeah. Needless to say, no one plays this, and you can easily see why. And this is gonna be changed to 3 mana, so it's gonna be more expensive, and 1 random, 1 corruption. Is it an instant spell though? Let me check. Oh, it's actually an instant spell. Could make for some fun stuff, but there are still just too many cards in Corruption that would make more sense than this and are more valuable. Return a zombie card from your graveyard onto the field. Now that makes sense with zombies, definitely. It is swift. Sweet. Gets +1 attack, +1 HP. Sweet. And can attack or block any creature regardless of speed this turn. That's also something that they like, the regardless of speed aspect, apparently. At the end of turn, sacrifice it. Yeah, that could stall the board for a little bit, or can actually potentially kill something. Like, if you have the Undead Necromancer out, that thing is gonna be obnoxious as hell. Because if you have that out and you play Midnight Cravings, it's an instant spell, so it's basically like guards, right? So you have 1 zombie out there that could potentially kill one of your biggest threats because it blocks everything regardless of speed. It is buffed, and it is deadly and swift. That sucks ass, definitely. Okay, gonna see how that pans out, though. By the way, I've totally forgot. Wall of Flames, yeah, didn't they said? Wall of Flames was changed by the Fuzz. War Swarm was changed by Daemonis. Electrostatic Armor by Marcus. Midnight Cravings by Ravignir. And now we have Ritual of the Garden, a card that I actually run in my fairies list. Little spoiler alert right there. At first, it doesn't make any ding-dong-damn sense when you just run a pure fairies list. But here it is. Put a non-fairy creature with mana cost equal or less to the number of fairies you control from your hand onto the field. Draw a card. Now, why would it be a non-fairy creature when you have a fairies deck? And this deck, or this card, makes sense in the fairy deck that I run. You control, yeah. So the thing is, fairies are really cheap to play, so you can have quite a board presence with them if they don't get removed by... But I mean, they are low in cost, and they are low in HP, and they are low in attack. So it's easy to remove them, it's easy to board wipe them with anything, with any sort of removal spell. Everything removes a fairy, basically. If it's not a storm fairy or something, but... yeah, you can have quite a big board presence with fairies. So you have like 4 fairies out, and you can basically play a 4 mana creature from your hand. And the one card, by the way, I'm just gonna make like a little spoiler alert. 4 fairies equals an Algaron if you have him in your hand, and that's where Ritual of Garden comes into play. But other than that, you don't really play fairies. I mean, Moonlight Patrol. Let's actually check the fairies that you usually play. How do you write? How do you write this? Hold on. God damn it. Ah, yeah, okay. So the fairies you usually run. You don't run Fleeting Fairy. You sadly don't run Morning Fairy anymore. You don't run Sunrise Fairy. You run Moonlight Patrol. Especially in Grand Reunion, obviously. You run Storm Fairy. No one runs Fae of Charm because it gets removed by everything, but it's still a good card. No one plays Empress of the Forest, and no one plays Melindra, Spirit Guide. So yeah. Ritual of the Gardens, technically useless. 2 mana, 1 aspect, and it's gonna be changed to 2 mana, 1 random, 1 nature. It's a action spell, yeah. And that's also gonna stay the same. Search your deck for a non-fairy creature with level equal or 2 or lower than the numbers of fairy you control, and with at least 1 aspect matching your level. Put that creature onto the field and shuffle your deck. That is actually a good thing, because generally it's the same thing. The thing right here is that you need to have the card in your hand. Here, it just states that you have to have it in your deck and that it has to match. Yeah, that it has to match your level. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool, and I think that's the most that's the general concern about this. Why no one plays this? I mean, as I said, you know, there are not many fairies anyways, but this could actually make fairies a little bit playable, I think, in ranked, in competitive at least. As I said, because you don't have to have the card in question in your hand. You just need to have it in your deck. Wait. Okay, yeah, that's still the same. It's still mana cost equal or less. I thought it was equal because that also would have been pretty trash. But yeah, that's a good change. That's definitely a good change. And then we have from Maxim, that was from Zadorek, by the way. And then we have from Maxim versus the guy with the most obnoxious decks in history, as it is, Birchwood Invoker. I think that was the Shaman that gets mana when a totem is destroyed. Exactly, yeah. Birchwood Invoker. Whenever a totem you control is destroyed, +1 energy channeling, you can use Birchwood Invoker's energy to pay for the mana cost of totem cards. That card is a little bit like this card, where you can choose one card that just loses all of its mana. Like, it's a Shaman, but why would you have a Shaman in your deck that just depletes one of your totems? It doesn't make any sense at all. And it's a little bit like this. Like, you don't want your totems to be destroyed. I mean, you get value out of it, and you can play more totems out of him, but you generally don't want your totems to die. And that's where Rage, by the way, shines with Rocky Tribe Mystic, who gives every allied totem 1 energy. That makes more sense than gaining 1 energy for this particular card when a totem is destroyed. It kind of contradicts itself there. But overall, it is pretty good. It's like two aspect. It's 2 speed and 1 HP, which is a little bit trash, but 3 damage nonetheless. It's basically a Temple Guard on steroids with a 2 speed. And 3 mana and 1 aspect. Let's check this out. So it's gonna be 3 mana and 1 random, 1 nature, and it's... Oh no, wait, right here it is. I was gonna say it's gonna be changed to a spell. So it's 3. Yeah, it's gonna stay the same. It's still gonna be 3 mana and 1 nature. Starts off with 0 energy instead of 1. And it's gonna be a creature, it's gonna be an elf shaman, and whenever a totem you control is destroyed, +1 energy, which is still the same, and X energy, return a totem with a cost of X mana from your graveyard onto the field. Ah. Okay. So you can pay any amount of energy that you have on Birchwood Invoker to get a totem back from the graveyard onto your field. As I said, this also could mean a good comeback, or start off basically for nature shamans, because they are getting some love here, just like target emblems, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, everyone's favorite card. Everyone loves this one. It's Scatador's bitching, and we all know and hate it for what it does. So when it enters the field, you can choose 1. At the end of your turn, gain life equal to half of your empty mana crystals rounded down, or, which no one does, at the end of the enemy hero's turn, that hero loses life equal to half of his or her empty mana crystals rounded down. 2 dominion aspects, 2 random aspects, 3 mana, great artwork, shitty card because every control list runs it and everyone fucking hates it. And that's why it's getting changed. So, it's gonna be changed to 3 mana, it's still the same. 2 random and 2 dominion, which is still the same. And it's gonna be a spell. I think it's a spell and a curse. It's a spell and a blessing. What the fuck? Oh well. And it's still gonna be a spell. It's gonna be a blessing. We're gonna see about that. And it's still gonna stay legendary. At the start of your turn, put the top card of each hero's deck under Scatador's bidding. During each player's turn, that player may play 1 card under Scatador's bidding, ignoring its level requirement. The mana cost has to be paid. So what I don't understand right here, it doesn't say destroy the card afterwards, because that sounds a little bit broken, doesn't it? You just play... I mean, of course, yeah, you still have to pay the mana, but if you have 4 mana and just 2 aspects and you have a Lord Karthus under there, you can just play Lord Karthus for 2 aspects and 4 mana, which definitely... I mean, then again, you need 4 aspects anyways and 3 mana to play Scatador's Bidding in the first place. Yeah, maybe it's not that bad, actually. But what I don't understand is, like, during each player's turn, that player may play one card under Scatador's Bidding. I don't know, like, does that also mean the enemy can do that? Because if the enemy can do that, why would he put a card under Scatador's Bidding? Because he can't use Scatador's Bidding, but you can? Why would he put a card under that? That's kind of what I'm not getting, because why would you give the enemy your cards, technically? But I think it's just... it's during each player's turn. Like, technically, if you play Mono Dominion Vampires, for instance, and you play Scatador's Bidding and the enemy plays, I don't know, Order Soldiers, and you have a the enemy has a Cavalry Field Captain put under Scatador's, can you use that Cavalry Field Captain then? I'm not quite sure about that. The most sense that it makes is that you just... it's basically like, Distant Expedition, Distant Expedition, yeah. At the end of your turn, put the top card of your deck under Distant Expedition. When Distant Expedition leaves the field, put a card from under it into your hand or sacrifice it to draw a card. It's kind of a little bit like this, only of course better, because it's not 1 aspect, 1 mana, which is pretty dirt cheap actually. And you don't have to sacrifice it, basically, to get the effect. But overall, it sounds pretty good. I still have to wait to see how you actually play it, because as it stands right now, it sounds a little bit weird, to be honest. Because, as I said, like, why would you... If you are on the enemy side, why would you put a card under it for your enemy? Doesn't make sense. And do you get another card draw if you put 1 card under it? That's also the thing. During each player may play 1 card under Scatador's Bidding. So either you draw the card and get it in your hand, or you put the card under Scatador's Bidding, risking that it could be a shrine. Maybe it's gonna dim down the use of Scatadors a little bit, but it's definitely gonna weaken. Rage Dominion, Wisdom, and Wisdom Dominion and Control decks, which I definitely condone. And that change, by the way, is by Usagi, which means rabbit in Japanese. Okay, and there you have it. That's the community redesign contest, the approved cards list. Oh yeah, by the way, it says right here. Here are all the cards that have been approved so far. We are going to implement all of these at once to keep the distraction to a minimum. At this point, it seems likely that the cards will be added around the time we are ready with the beta of the mobile version 2 to 3 weeks from now. That was at the 23rd of October, but it got delayed a little bit because they need some beta testers, as I've heard. That would have been an impact, actually, if they would, like, release it in the next couple of days, but that's not gonna happen. They postponed it a little bit. Maybe at the start of 2018, I think. We can calculate with that possibility of the mobile release. And, of course, there are also gonna be some new cards that are being added, and then we can definitely see how this is gonna all pan out. So, Vegetation, Blockade, Detonate, Wall of Flames, Wasp Swarm, Electrostatic Armor, Midnight Cravings, Ritual of the Garden, Birchwood Invoker, and Scatador's Bitching. All of these cards are gonna be changed when the mobile release hits, alongside with the release of 8 or 9 new cards, I think it was. Roundabout. They also released 1 artwork, by the way, which looks pretty damn nice, I gotta say. And it's gonna be interesting to see what that creature is gonna bring to the table. And from what I've heard, by the way, they're also gonna make like the you know we have the Trigon right now with the Wisdom Order, Order Nature, and the one thing that I've missed, you know, the double shrine basically. And they are gonna make a similar one for the evil side, but it's probably not gonna be like the same thing, like that you have like one Rage Dominion or one Dominion and Corruption spell shrine, you know. And it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be a little bit different. Also gonna be interesting to see. Maybe that's gonna be one of the new cards then as well, because they like. The evil side needs some Trigon love, basically, and we're gonna see how that all pans out as well. So yeah, those are the community redesign contests. Contest approved cards list. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of these changes. Do you agree with most of them, or would you have rather seen other ones? I'm pretty fine with all of these, I gotta say. Especially the Skeletor's one. And I love the fact that nature shamans are getting some love. And maybe we're gonna see them being played like with Vegetation Blockade, with the Birchwood Invoker also now. That is pretty valuable. That, and of course that maybe target emblems are also gonna see some play in the competitive scene soon with the cards that are being changed towards that direction. So yeah, as I said, let me know in the comments below if you think those changes are appropriate, and then I'll see you in the next Spellweaver related video. And of course, by the way, still, the mobile release draws closer, so all of these cards right now, you may put them in one of your decks just to play them before they are changed, and then you can tell to your grandchildren that you actually played Detonate when it was still terrible. Or like Wall of Flames, Wasp Swarm, Vegetation Blockade when it was still garbage. Because that's always a blessing, pun intended. So yeah, see you in the next Spellweaver related video.